This is the way I take every morning to go to my office. The starting point is the main square of the city, where you can see a bar where I often have a coffee with other dads that take their children to the same school as mine. After the coffee, I start walking past by a little shop where there are newspapers and magazines for sale. Then I cross this gallery that is the only way to reach the square. Over the gallery there is the town hall. You can see the major office. Medieval cities always have a gate or a door to enter through, so citizens in the past could better defend themselves from attacks by other cities. At the bottom of this building there is a small restaurant owned by a friend of mine. This is a lookout, where you can see mountains with some snow on the top. Italy is not a flat country, and the ancient cities were built over the hills for strategy and defensive reasons. On the right you can see the stratification of the ancient city walls. The first layer dates back to the Roman Empire, about 2000 years ago, and the other layers are more recent. I think the last one was built around the 18th century. At the top, in the opposite way, there is the theater. On the left you can see an hotel, and on the right a gallery with some shops below. It is not common to open shops and stores in the historic center of small towns, because logistically it is hard to find parking for customers and to transport goods. For these reasons, larger shops have moved outside the city to the shopping area with many malls. I think this is the main reason why cities are dying. This along with the difficulty of renovating the ancient houses. In Italy people don't like to walk, they prefer going to work by car. I know many people who live about 1 or 2 kilometers from their office, but they don't want to walk. I think it's a bad habit that came from the last generation and the 18th, when rich people had cars and poor people didn't. Personally, I prefer walking. First, because I have no place to park the car when I arrive to the office, and second, because this way I get 40 minutes of physical activity every day. No one takes the bike because our cities are not flat, so it's difficult to climb the hills. Every 100 meters there is a parking machine, where you can buy minutes to park in blue zone. Parking here costs about €1 per hour, and when you buy minutes you need to write your license plate number, so nobody can use your time if you leave the parking spot early. This is called the New Road, because in the past this is used by the railway. In fact, farther ahead there is a gallery for the train. The railway was decommissioned about 100 years ago, but along the way there are still old stations and galleries like this one. After the removal of the railway, this pit became a normal road, called the New Way. At the top of the hill on my right, there is the highest place in the city, where you can find a cathedral, a big park with a playground, and a beautiful manor that people can rent for their weddings. There is also an abandoned hotel that was recently sold to a famous contractor. In the next video, maybe, I will show it to you. On the right you can see a memorial for the soldiers who died during the Second World War, and another lookout where you can see a neighborhood of my city. There are houses where you can enter via bridge because they were built below the road. Now we have arrived near a huge house that was built by a Swedish family. On the roof there is a big garden and a pool. In the past it was owned by a famous doctor from the city. The street is called the Way of All Saints. In Italy, All Saints' Day is on the 1st of November, when the church remembers all saints, including those who don't have a specific day in the calendar. Along this descent is full of empty house. I think it's because the houses are old and not renovated. Furthermore, the cars accelerated to climb, so there is a lot of noise and the smell of exhaust fumes. Walking along this way is dangerous because there is no sidewalk, so people who look at their phones while driving could hit you. There was an earthquake here in 2016, so when you see a building with scaffolding, it's because the government has decided to renovate structures that were damaged in the event, especially in the historic place. In historic center, you can find many churches and convents because this territory used to belong in the Papal States. Italy was founded in 1860. Before that, there were many independent states and kingdoms, including the Papal States, which occupied half of the peninsula. Today, it has been reduced to just Vatican City, located in the center of Rome. At the end of this descent, there is a little square, where there is my barber, a restaurant and other shops. You can see a piano shop, a little grocery store, a bar where I have my second coffee in the morning, a butcher, another grocery store and a pharmacy. This is the end of the tour. Please forgive my poor English, but in Italy we never really have the chance to speak other languages, so these videos are an exercise for me.